you are the original viral guitar player. I mean, when I know that's a big statement, but it's the truth. You were the first guy when YouTube came along. I remember I'd been playing for a few years when Drifting came out, and like immediately everybody it was crazy. I remember it being I was in middle school, and the school I went to, the middle school and the high school were together, and like all of a sudden you came out with Drifting, and it was kind of like this moment where all of a sudden all the acoustic guitar players started like slapping the body, and like even the singer songwriters were doing it. I mean, you changed the whole game, and I'm not trying to this will lead somewhere, I promise, but it was very much like I don't want to put you on this level, but it was like a millennial version of like you hear those stories of like how Eruption changed the game for guitar. I do feel like Drifting was one of those moments where everyone was like, all right, put down the solo guitar or the solo electric guitar stuff and learning who could play fast and like who can slap their bodies and do the cool things. And it was really was one of those moments. And I remember all the acoustic guitar players, if you could play Drifting, you were like you were the cool musician at that school, you know? So because you were the original viral guitar player, there have been several thousands probably at this point who have also had viral guitar moments. I've had viral guitar moments on TikTok and Instagram, but you've turned that into a career. How are you able to do that?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I guess, you're kind of right. There weren't a lot of viral videos at all on the guitar at that time. There's a friend of mine named Eric Longrain who had a video around that time too, called Air Tap that was kind of going viral too. But yeah, it was sort of a shift, from the old days to the more new days, I guess. And, I had been teaching guitar lessons. Really, it was my main job at a guitar store. But I'd released a couple of albums, but just totally independently, and at tiny little places that I could get into here in Kansas, pretty much. I did have a little bit of touring. I got to go to Taiwan in 2003 and play a bit. There was a promoter that brought me out there, and we did actually ended up going back 4 or 5 times to China and stuff with him. But really, I would just come back and teach guitar lessons. That was my main gig, But I had competed in this Canadian Guitar Festival in 2004, I think it was. And I got 3rd place that year. And one of the judges was Don Ross, who was one of my biggest influences. And so we became fast friends after he started to get to hear me play. He liked what I was up to. And I was like, man, you're one of my biggest heroes. And so we would, start doing shows together. He's a Canadian guy. So we'd go up in Canada and tour around some. And so, I was starting to get a little more experience touring here and there. And, but then there was this guy who just wanted to start a record label focused on this kind of music. And so he started it. It's called Candy Rat Records. And so he, put us together and was trying to get some tours arranged for Don and I to go do. And, still kind of struggling along, nobody really knows who I am for sure. But, some people knew who Don was. And then, we had a day off in Milwaukee where the label was based, and he said, let's shoot some videos and put them on this new website, YouTube. And so we did that over the weekend or whatever, shot about 8 videos or something. And he put those up, and then Drifting started to get this traction. And, I was teaching guitar lessons here in town at Topeka, and I had a student that didn't show up, and I logged on to YouTube and saw Drifting was on the front page of YouTube. And I was just like, holy, what? And, it just kept going up, and my website crashed. People were wanting to buy tablature and didn't have the band. I had to upgrade my bandwidth to get back online, and I was just, and then Carson Daly, he was a talk show host back in the day. He wanted to have me on his show in LA. I was just like, what? This is nuts. And, but still it was kind of like, well, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what to do. And in January, I think it was only a month later or so, maybe somewhere in there, went to the NAMM show in California, which is the National Association of Music Merchandise. And so, they show new products and all that. So I was out there playing guitar with Don on behalf of at that time, Dean Markley strings. And well, as I was doing that, another guitar player hero of mine was at NAMM, Billy McLaughlin, and he came down with his manager to see me play a bit. And his manager saw me, and he was really into what I was doing. So he asked me if I wanted to start working with him. So he hooked me up, and we got a booking agent, and I got an accountant and all this stuff that you need to make things start to happen. And so, the booking agency started to line up shows and touring and stuff. So that's kind of been my main thing ever since. I did and then in that time since then, the whole online music thing has turned into its whole own economy. There's people that don't even go tour at all, but they do stuff on social media and they got a living and stuff. And I've been thinking about that more myself too a bit. Maybe I should do a bit more of that. I got a wife and 2 kids, and I love doing shows too. But it'd be good to have sort of maybe a passive, or not passive, but an income where I could do it from here a bit more. So I've been looking at that some more too. Maybe Patreon, things like
that. So obviously, like your progression was pretty natural, and you also kind of, I feel like so 17 years ago, that was like what, 2000? I can't do math. 2008, somewhere in there. 2009, somewhere in there. Okay. So you still were able to, like, there was still a little bit of the old touring system left. There was still a little bit of the old record label system left at that point. And obviously you said like it's changed, and you have, but it seems like, for me, it seems like it was a very like natural. You were able to kind of just take that virality and go into you were able to get a booking agent who put you in theaters, get on Carson Daly, have management, label help, that sort of a thing. But what about sustaining it? Like, and I mean that, and I'm not trying to pry too much, but it's just like, there's a famous Dr. Dre quote, which is, it's easy to get famous. The hard part's keeping it. How have you been able to manage? I mean, we're talking almost decades now of sustained success, viral videos. I mean, we just talked. You just had a viral video on Instagram here, not even a month ago. How are you able to still stay relevant, still stay in the public eye when, especially now, there's a guitar player here today, gone tomorrow?
I don't know, actually. And it's I kind of struggling with it myself lately. It's like, to be honest, I growing up as a teenager, I didn't really go out much. I stayed in and played guitar a lot and played video games a lot. And I had like 3 friends that were really close. We would always hang out on the weekends and stuff. And I wasn't popular in school. I didn't try to be popular in school. But now it's kind of forced upon everyone that wants to be a musician or artist of some type, that you need to try to be popular. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. What am I going to do that, I just don't know, it's like you need to put another video every other day. And I'm just like, I don't want to even do that kind of thing. So, I don't know. Dude, I'm not too sure about the staying relevant thing and all that, but, trying to have some music released on a fairly regular schedule is a good idea. And, I think sometimes the social media stuff, it kind of caters more to these temporary kind of things. Like maybe you'll upload a video of you playing a cool little lick or something, and then that goes up, and then people are just scrolling, maybe they'll see it, but I don't know if those things are designed for any real impact, So I'm trying to figure it out myself a bit, how do you stay relevant in this, total, I'm not even on TikTok, to be honest. I've got an account, but, I've put a couple goofy videos up there just to be silly, but, I have a hard time wanting to put anything on there. It just feels like you're kind of putting something up there that can't be too valuable because it's just going to fly by, Yeah. I've always been a bit more interested in things that have depth and meaning than kind of superficial little things. So it's hard for me to want to engage on that platform a bit. And I had a hard time with Instagram too, even wanting to get on there. But, they used to just put to like 30-second clips or something, I think, when you first started. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to mess with that. So, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there a bit, but I kind of forgot the question a bit. Is it, how do you stay relevant, right?
Yeah. Is there anything that you've done to help you stay relevant on the acoustic guitar circuit, on as a performer, as a content creator? I mean, we're talking. You mean, again, like I said, most musicians here today, gone tomorrow. On when they play the social media game, and you've done it. I mean, you still have videos that get millions of views. And so, I mean, obviously you're super talented, and that's a big part of it. But there's a lot of talent out there now as well. So my question is more of along the lines of like, is there anything that you think you've done that's helped you stay relevant? You said releasing music consistently. I think that's definitely a big one for sure. But anything else?
I think the other thing is just being able to put on a good show too. Actually, that was the other one that I wanted to mention when you brought up the, like, even doing the touring thing and be able to turn that into a career. There might be some artists that you see on social media that, they put out a video and it's really great. But what's the spectrum of what they do? Is every song kind of like that? And then if it is, then like, would you be willing to sit through an entire show that's like 2 hours of just that kind of thing? So, I've always loved the different sort of messages you can get from music, the different expression. And, so that's why I have tunes like For My Father or Hunter's Moon, just what's the depth and the dynamics that you can get into, the spectrum of feeling and everything. So if you're going to do a show, you want to try to cover all of that and deliver an engaging performance too. So if you can, put up a clip on Instagram and it's impressive and cool and that's all wonderful, but then if you're going to try to turn it into a on the road type thing, you have to be able to actually put on a good show is the main thing.
So if you were to advise somebody who's had a viral guitar video or a viral music video clip, what advice would you give them to help take it further? Obviously, you said developing a live show, but is there anything else?
Well, shoot, I don't know. I guess, just trying to reach out to different people, to try to get into the genre, and so like even before the social media stuff was vetted, I was trying to get into acoustic guitar places, festivals or these competitions that I would sometimes do. And one of the main thing from those was making contacts and making new friends. And so I don't know if you're people that watch your podcast here might know Antoine Dufour, that he's a great fingerstyle guitar player from up in Canada. He's my age. And, we met at these guitar festivals like the one in Winfield, Kansas, the Walnut Valley Festival, or the Canadian Guitar Festival. We just became friends. And so I would say, hey, you want to come down to Kansas and Colorado? We'll do some shows and, have a good time, maybe make a few bucks. It wasn't going to be anything too crazy, but we could have some fun and just get to play in front of people. And that was what we did, and I had Craig DeAndrea up in the Connecticut area. He invited me up there. So it was just kind of, networking, but I hate to say that word. It sounds so like business. It really was. It was just like, hey, yeah, you're cool, man. What'd you do on that song? And, and you just become friends and try to help each other. So, that's a good thing to do if you can make some contacts and try to help each other out like that. And then just, getting out and playing, like I was saying, I did it like coffee shops for, a couple of years, just every week playing and getting comfortable playing in front of people, talking to the audience, all that stuff. And I know not everybody's the same though. Some people might not be comfortable with that. You just, I have whatever, I think it gets from my dad, just a little bit of whatever that is, trying to be comfortable and relate to people. It doesn't feel too hard for me, which I know it might be harder for some people. So, I don't want to make it sound like it's going to be super easy or anything, but, if you have difficulty with that, the only way to kind of tackle it is to start trying it, and start trying to engage with the audience, say, how's everybody doing? Whatever, getting comfortable and keeping the show flowing best you can. And that's what makes people want to come back. And if you're writing good tunes, that's the most important part.
Definitely.